Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Marseille, aka the Property Pastor. Today we got a special treat for you. We got my man Kris Haskins on the channel today. Kris, I want to welcome you, man, and thank you so much for coming to hang out today. And for those of y'all who don't know, Kris Haskins has been doing this for a minute. He's got a lot of experience in the game, out in the real estate arena, on the virtual space, online. I mean, this guy's doing all sorts of stuff. You check his channel out, you see any and everybody up there who knows their stuff. So Kris has been a great resource to me, and I wanted to bring him to the channel to kind of just bless us with a little bit of info today. So we're gonna hang out. So Kris, man, welcome. Glad to have you. And thanks again just for coming to check out, man. You got anything you want to say to the folks just to introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to thank you. It's an honor to hang out with you, man. I'm happy to be surrounded by people in the Word. I'm cool with that. I'm not ashamed to admit it. And the spirit, the energy that you give off, man, is definitely warranted and needed in the real estate space. So thank you.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, man, we're just gonna chop it up a little bit, and tell us a little bit about your story, man. I know you come from
Yeah,
you're native to Virginia, right? Tell us a little bit where you're from, how you got into real estate. I know you got a unique and interesting story, so tell us a little bit about that.
yeah, I appreciate that, Marseille. I know we met a while back. Little boy, Lynchburg, Virginia. I was a band nerd. Never was the ladies' guy. People used to talk about me my whole entire matriculation through high school. Thank you, Hampton University. Went to HU, learned, try to get the black experience. Okay, North Carolina, there you go. Try to get the black experience because I grew up around white people. So I'm like, let me come to Hampton University. Got here, hooked up with some music guys that was in the music business for quite a while up until 2002. Learned that
Mm,
that was a destructive lifestyle, Marseille. So we got a publishing deal. Shouts out to Jay Praise. Several $100,000 we made in the music publishing business. And then I went broke. That's when I learned,
mm.
you know what? Maybe I need to learn something. Maybe I'm not as smart as I think I am. And that's when real estate fell into my lap. The universe said, you know what, Kris? You've had money, but earning money is only one of the four pillars in the richest man in Babylon, the five rules of gold. Earning is
Right.
one. The other four are management. So earning money, I know your viewers might not want to hear this. That's the easy part.
Mm,
Managing it. I remember Sean Combs used to say, you know what? Getting in the music business is easy. Staying in the music business is the hard part. So that's what
mm.
I didn't want to stay into it. So we got into the real estate game and went broke again on that. Bought a bunch of houses, lost them all to foreclosure. Then I'm like, you know what? I need to get educated. Let me find some people to educate myself. And that's when 2010 I kind of took off knowing how to do it the unconventional way, like you do. And
Got
here
you.
we are. Here
So
we
you
are.
so you started out. Let me recap that, man, because that's a lot, right? So you started out, always been kind of musically inclined. What did you play when you were in the band?
I
What
was
was
a
your instrument?
band trumpet. Yep. I still do trumpet to this day. Teach my daughters and yeah, trumpet. How
Yeah.
about you? You music? You into the music?
No, man. I was a football player. I was an
Sports
athlete.
guy?
Yeah. I played
Real
ball for
sport.
A team, man. I couldn't tell the difference between one note to another, man. I'll be lost. So you started out in musically, got on with in the record industry. So
Yep.
what was that timing? What was that, early 2000s? Is that what you said?
Yep. 2000 to
Okay.
2002 was when I made some money. I mean, I was broke before
Okay.
that, but yeah, I ran a sound company and got a couple of platinum records and traveled the
Um,
world and drinking, drug, and sex, and found out that that's a destructive lifestyle, Marseille,
Destructive
and I
way to
just didn't
go.
want to.
It's not sustainable, huh? Okay. So when you started in the real estate space, was that pre 2007 then? Before things kind of went south with the market and whatnot?
Yeah, yeah. I've been in the game since '04, bro.
Okay, so you started '04. You lived through a downturn in the market cycle, had some
Yeah.
foreclosure, and then learned and then recovered from that. So tell me about, so you failed, you succeeded, you recovered. What was that like on the first downturn? Like, what's the key takeaways? I know you mentioned getting around some people who really knew their stuff, getting educated. So what other takeaways did you get from that first, I guess, market downturn that really transformed things for you?
I learned that, yeah, when they're giving money away, not the best time to buy houses like right now when the interest rates are
Mm-hmm.
super low. Interest rates go down, prices go up. I've seen it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. I feel like I'm an old, what do you call it? Old geezer now. I can see. I'm like, it's the same crap they was doing in 06, 07, 08.
Right.
Interest rates go
Okay.
down, inventory prices go up. Interest rates
Mm,
go up, inventory goes down. So it's
right.
like right now, not a good time to buy for owner
Not,
occupant, just not a
not,
good time.
not the time to be going in. Yeah. And everybody's
No,
trying to take advantage of it though. From everybody's trying to buy their first home. They're trying to get started because
yeah,
interest rates are so low. Um,
that's
so
true. That's
when
true.
you started that first time, did you have many mentors, or was it kind of like, man, this is just a good thing to jump into?
Well, the problem for me was my first. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I mean, basically, when you started out, you just kind of, what'd you do? Read books, just get started. I mean, what was
No.
that startup like for you?
Well, I was stupid. I hooked up with some of my friends from college and a cousin of mine. They bought a house. My first
Mm-hmm.
house was in New Jersey. We bought it for like 180, and a year later we sold it for 250. So we made like 50,000. We didn't even touch it. The
Mm-hmm.
next one we bought in Chicago with a friend of mine. We same thing. I think we bought it for 130. We sold it for 195. At that time, the market was going up. So I'm like, you know what? I'm smart. I'm doing the right thing. I'm investing in real estate.
Right.
Little did I know that was what do they call it? Artificial market. You have to go
Yeah.
build some value into a house to raise the
Right.
value. That those days. So that's why I started buying rental property. I'm like, all I need to do is buy and hold it for a year, and I can make money.
Right. So
It's
you were
stupid.
literally banking on appreciation then. So that's basically hoping I buy low and then it's just naturally gonna appreciate, which is truly artificial. So just for all the listeners out there, I was always taught that appreciation is icing. You can't just bank on that. So you actually lived that out, and saw kind of the detriments to it. Okay.
I never do.
Well,
Yeah,
good.
I don't. I care. No, I care nothing about appreciation. I don't even care. I care. I don't care if my houses go up $1. Now in
Right.
my life. Before I'm like,
Mhm.
Lord,
Yeah.
please let
You
this.
sit there watching it every day.
Now I'm like, I don't care. I have no problems. Yeah, I don't care if they lose in value. They could go to zero. My tenant still
Mhm.
has to pay $1,000 a month. I mean, it's
Right.
irrelevant to me. It's irrelevant to me.
Yeah. I'm with you. So tell me a little bit about, tell us a little bit about what your portfolio looks like now. Like what spaces are you in? I know you're all over the place. You talked about 5 different pillars through Richest Man in Babylon. Educate us a little bit on what that looks like, man. In terms of it's not just about making money. What are you doing out in the space right now that has helped you to transform and transition over time? What's that look like
Yeah,
for you
man.
now?
That's a good question. I think that is a conversation that us brown people need to have, my friend. I think the conversations in my community are more about earning. I don't know about you, but we're mostly focused on earning. Is that where you're at?
Yeah, and that's
Earning
usually
more,
what we talk
earning more.
about all the time. Everybody just wants to earn more, but I mean, it's not really about what you earn. It's kind of what you keep. What you keep, what you reinvest. But yeah, most folks just think about let me earn more money.
Oh my God. That is such, oh man. But you know what? You can't really, I don't blame us for that because, for me, I don't have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, let me earn. But
Right.
here's the thing, dude, I wish that earning is the easiest part. Earning, there's so much money in the system right now, Marseille. I mean, they're giving it away. They gave me 16,000 of it. I don't know if you took advantage of those EIDL loans.
We talk about the small business loans and whatnot.
Yeah, the CARES Act. They gave
Yeah.
us that. Then I took a penalty-free withdrawal from my IRA, so I got a big old chunk there. There's more
Right.
money in the system now. I mean, just imagine if this is your bank account. Oh, let's say this is the American economy. They're just pouring money in, Marseille. It's everywhere,
Mhm.
everywhere
Right.
you go. So the capital is there. We just have to provide the value to the community to access it. And when you get
Hmm.
to a level in your career, man, as I come up the ranks, I'm like, you see 1, 2, 3, 400, 500, and you see all this capital, and you're like, what are you gonna do with it? What are you
Hmm.
gonna do with it? That's where I think where my purpose and my mission was born. Before my
Hmm.
mission, I was looking at my book this morning. We've got 4 stages of
Hmm.
awareness, right? The first one is just
Right.
satisfying your needs. I just got to get these
Okay.
bills paid. I get these
Yeah.
bills paid. And then it goes up from there. At the top one is your purpose. So I didn't even get my
Mhm.
purpose. I didn't even have a purpose till I turned 40, Marseille. So I think that
Right.
helped me kind of have a portfolio of some Section 8 lease options, some subject to. We do new
Right.
construction as well as buying and flipping.
Okay. So you mentioned about the whole access to cash, capital being, prevalent right now. What do you tell the newbie, the guy who's just like, what do you tell yourself back in '04, knowing what you know now? Right? What would you do if you could time travel and talk to yourself? What would you say to Kris Haskins
Wow.
2004, knowing what you know today?
Good question. First thing I would say to myself, enjoy the ride. One of my biggest mistakes, Marseille, is I didn't enjoy the ride.
Hmm.
I didn't enjoy my ride at all, man. I look back, I'm like, I don't even remember enjoying going to closing, placing that tenant, raising that first $100,000 in private money,
Hmm.
opening up my IRA. I was never in the moment of doing this
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm like,
Hmm.
God, please forgive me for not cherishing those times. As I look back, it was such a grind. It was like I was trying to get to passive income, 10
Right.
houses, 10,000 a
Yeah.
month, whatever. It was like I was so much, I was up, and I look back and I'm like, God, please forgive me for not enjoying the present that you gave me. So now I'm like enjoying the ride. Now I can, when I'm hanging out with my kids, I can be
Hmm.
present,
Right. Right.
when we're coming up. I don't know about you, but it's like, get money, money. I gotta figure this out. I gotta figure it out now, now, now. Were
Right.
you like that, Marseille, or
Yeah.
you were never like that?
Yeah. I mean, I think you spend so much time trying to grind, trying to make it happen. Sometimes you can kind of miss the forest for the trees and not stop to smell the roses. Especially when you got young kids or you like me, man. I mean, you know what?
Yep.
I'm working. I'm pastoring the church. Our kids are similar in age, so it's just a
Mhm.
constant grind. And I think
Constant
taking
grind.
that time out to really keep the main thing is critical. But that's good stuff, man. That's good advice. So I mean, if trying to get that first house out there and trying to make it all happen, I think you still got to grind. But like you're saying, you got to really kind of just slow down. So okay, so
Let me
with
finish. Let me
that,
stay here for 1 second. Let me stay here for 1 second, Marseille. I want to minimize the fact that a house is not a big deal. I think that
mm,
people, both of us, run into people that don't own any real estate, and we own more houses, enough houses. So I want people to look at a house not as Mount Everest. It's nothing but a house. It's four walls,
right,
2x4, sheetrock, roof, windows. It's not that big of a deal. It's just one house, And I think
right,
before we get in the game, we're like, oh man, $100,000 or whatever the
mm,
number is. Like, oh my Lord,
right,
how on earth would I ever be able to not only buy one but pay it off? You think I
yeah,
could pay off So man,
right,
they've been doing it for hundreds of years. We can do it too.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I know when I bought my first house, man, it was like, yo, this is a house. I mean, and then after a while, you just you get analysis paralysis. You pull the trigger, and then you're like, oh, I can do this, and then you get another house, And I think getting to that place, and I know, man, you've done this thing so many times. Did you find that you got emotionally attached in the early goings? You really were like, once you got it, I can't let it go. I got to make it work. Have you had to like turn your portfolio over or sell different properties that weren't performing? What did that kind of look like for you?
Yeah, with the ones that weren't performing or the bank, had to let those go because I got that bad financing. That's when I learned to get the right financing, build my own bank or
Yeah.
take over somebody's debt.
Right.
But yeah, I
Okay.
can't get emotional. But man, I'm telling you, I learned from some masters. When I went to Home Investors, I used to be a franchisee with the ugly houses. Learning
Okay.
from them, no emotion when they look at a house. I mean, I remember when I used to see a guy that I know, I'm not even going to mention his name because he stole 20 grand from me. He had
Uh,
no emotion, no emotion. He
that
goes
was
to
an
the house. I
expensive
mean,
seminar.
hmm?
I said that was an expensive
Yes,
seminar.
I went to a seminar, 20 grand. So when he go to
Ouch.
the houses, I was enamored with him. I would always be like, how in the hell does this dude, he come in, look around. Okay, so Chris, this is what we're gonna do. Da da da. What do you think about this? I'm like, wow, man, this dude, no emotion. And now that I'm that same guy, I find people, they ask me the same. I'm like, damn, you don't even, I don't even see the house. I'm like, you don't even see it. It's four walls. I don't even see it. I'm like, I can't even remember when I go into the houses that I own. I'm like, damn, well, where's the GPS? Because you don't, they're nothing but it's like going to work. That's your income. Like you
Yeah,
don't even think
it's
about the
cool.
house.
Yeah. Yeah. So talk a little bit about your mentors, man. Over the years, who's made the biggest impact on you? Changing your mindset, helping you to really scale up and level your business to where it is today. What kind of mentors have you had who's made the biggest impact on you?
I gotta give shouts out to Lonnie Scruggs, RIP. He passed away, I don't know, years ago. The man
Mm-hmm.
used to, we would say I was taking him to breakfast, but he would always pay, So I would eat breakfast out at the beach. He had the biggest impact. He sat me down. He said, Chris, I'm going to tell you something that should be illegal. This self-directed Roth IRA stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It is completely tax-free now, today. We don't know if that's going to change in the future, but so I set that up. I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm so thankful that I set it up. And then learning more about it through Ronald Grant taught me a bunch of stuff,
Right.
Man, Mike Cheatwood, he used to be the president of Trig. I don't know if you're familiar with Trig.
Yep. I'm familiar with Trig. Yep.
He was the president, man, and this dude was a beast too. And I remember him saying, Chris, you better learn short sales. This was back in 2005, man.
Okay.
Like, what is a short sale? I don't know. It wasn't even popular then.
Right.
Fast forward to now, it's like, man, we use them as a tool, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Mike Cheatwood, those are my two guys. Mike Cheatwood, Lonnie Scruggs, both of them have moved on to the afterlife. So
yeah. So when you talk about that, right? And so you sound like you're shifting a little bit, um, when you talk about mentors, you start to shift about giving back, you start shifting about looking at, okay, what's the legacy that I'm going to leave? What I guess the question that I'll have for you is, when a person comes to you and they say, Chris, I want to learn, I want to learn how to do this. I want to be successful at it. What are the things, what kind of traits do you give them or tell them that they need to kind of bring to the table in order to be successful? In terms of replicating the level of success that you've had, what do you tell that up and comer, about how do they get into the business and how do they succeed?
yeah, man, good question. First thing I want everybody to know that the level of success, everybody's different. Everybody's different. I want everybody to know that, and you don't have to be a multimillionaire to have a comfortable life.
Right.
You just don't. You don't. Now, if you want to travel the world and live in a big old house and drive expensive cars and do all that stuff, yes, you're going to have to make some serious paper. But if you want to have a comfortable life, generally speaking, you can live anywhere in this country for $10,000 a month. Would you say, Marseille? You think 10 would?
Yeah, I mean, so, you might maybe some of the extreme areas in New York and California, maybe, but if you, but for the most part, yeah, I mean, I think that's very doable, and a
Generally
comfortable.
speaking, right?
Yeah, generally speaking, 9 times out of 10, I would say that's the case.
So we're talking about 10 houses, right? Or whatever the case may be. I think we all need to identify what is success. For me, I chased this ghost of, my problem was, again, they were hanging out with Teddy Riley, dude, and Pharrell, and watching these dudes. Teddy Riley had a tire warehouse, Marseille. He had, it was big. Anyway, I don't know, tens of thousands of square feet just for the tires for his cars. He would drive around. Huh?
For tires, for cars?
Yeah, he used to drive these cars, right? He's into the cars. He would change tires in the car once a day or whatever. I'm like, this dude, and then hanging out with P and even with Dave Hollister and the list goes on. These dudes are driving, so it's challenging when you're around those people and you see the lifestyle that they live, man. And I'll never forget Rob. I was cool with Pharrell's manager, Rob Walker. These just are flying all around, doing whatever. So, but then you got to kind of say, you know what, man? Am I going to be the Facebook of entrepreneurs? Am I going to be the Elon Musk? Probably not.
Right.
Am I going to be the Pharrell Williams of the music business? with the Timberland, probably not. And there's nothing wrong with that. Or are you going to be the Kardashians of the entertainment? So we have to
Right.
define what success is,
Yeah, I
So
think that, man, that's so good, because comparison. I mean, we talk about that in this space. I talk about that in church. One of the biggest things to contribute to you being not content is comparing yourself to other people. So you had to sit down and just kind of sound like you had to do that for yourself. But you run into that a lot where folks come to you for help and they just have in their mind that they're going to be, Bad Merrill or HGTV and all this kind of stuff. Buying their own private island. You kind of having to temper that a little bit. Okay, good stuff. Good
temper it.
stuff.
The main thing
Yeah,
is that vision.
that's critical. What else? What else would you add to it? As far as stuff people need to really succeed out here.
Yeah, your vision. So your vision needs to be clear. Like I didn't get my, and I'm not mad at anybody that doesn't have the vision because it took me. I keep telling my wife, I'm like, babe, she looking at her tax returns. I'm like, okay. I'm like, look, it took me 40 years. 40 years to figure this thing out, Marseille. And some dudes it might take 60. Some dudes might
Right.
take 30, So I'm like, babe, we need to really took me 40 years to get here, So let's clear with the vision. I didn't have a vision until it wasn't until 2017. I mean, I didn't know what I knew I wanted to make money, but I'm like, okay, making dude, it's the bottom. It's the bottom of success. Income, money is just paper. It can be made. It can be lost. So, what's your purpose? So, what do you want to do? Why are you here? And I don't want to get too she, man. But we only have one life. And I look back, I'm like, I want to matter. So, for young people coming in, first thing, debt. I'm like, I know a lot of people like buying more and more houses, but for me, I'm just saying what worked for me, as opposed to trying to acquire more. I want to say, you know what? I've already got financing on these houses. I've already paid mortgages for a few years. Why not take the money that I would have saved up to buy new houses and just pay these off? Let me see how that worked. So for me,
Right.
that worked. That was as opposed, because like when you get more and more tenants, like more and more, as you get older, less is more. Less is more for
Right.
me. I'm trying to
Sure.
pile on houses, more and more houses, more tenants, more repairs. I
Mhm.
learned that I'm like, this didn't working. I've already got financing set up. I already got the tenant. I already know the house. I know the house from top to bottom because I've already owned it for a few years. So let me just focus on retiring that debt. The young people, get out of debt.
Yeah.
Get out of debt. It's killing you, man.
I guess when you sit back and look at amortization schedule and you see how many times you've actually buying a house, what is it, 2.5 times or something to
2.7.
that, when it's all said and done. So you've taken on that approach of acquire, pay off, pay down, pay off. Do you kind of refinance as you need, or are you kind of doing more stuff? And it sounds like you're doing more stuff in the private space and more stuff within, a self-directed IRA. So you're not really putting those houses to work as much as you're using in the private money space.
Well, they are working.
They are working for you? Okay, from the
They are
standpoint of.
working. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just talking about as far as the taking, because some folks, I mean, and everybody, like you said, and I like what you said about this is what worked for me, right? Because it's like, hey, because you got some folks that talk about leverage, but then as I'm hearing you, it sounds like you're taking it and saying, I've got this vehicle. Let me make this vehicle as efficient as I can get it. And I guess my question would be, as you're looking at new deals, because some folks will take those properties and when they get them down to a certain level, maybe 60% or whatever, they'll put a new note on it, right? And put that back to work. So I guess what I'm saying is you're really using more. So your funding is not necessarily coming from existing portfolio. It's coming from OPM, other people's money, or
Both.
your own direct IRA.
Both, bro.
Okay.
Both. Well, see,
Now,
here's the
how
thing.
hard was it to break into that space? When it comes down to private money, because a lot of people talk about it, but then it's like, how do you really jump into it? I know I've forayed into it in the past couple of years, and it's amazing. It's an untapped gold mine, right? But
Now, I remember our meeting. Did you do it after our meeting or did you do it before our meeting? I remember we talked about it at that coffee.
Probably after. Yeah, probably after. You probably planted that seed. And I was just like, wow, I mean, and
It's
just,
really out there. It's really out there.
yeah, it's a whole new world, So let's talk about that for a minute. A person is like, man, I'm tired of going to the bank. I'm tired of, dealing with Wells Fargo and having them comb through everything I got and all this kind of headache. I'm tired of showing every tax return that I have and blah blah blah. What has it been like for you, or what advice would you give a person trying to jump into the private money space?
Gotcha. Well, let's rewind a little bit and talk about my rentals so we can
Okay.
segue into how we borrow. 240. A lot of guys are like, don't pay your house off. You can use that money and make more money. I'm just not that good, man. I try to make sure I'm just not, I can't make every dollar go out there and Lonnie Scruggs used to say, Kris, you need your money to go out there and get friends and bring the
Mm,
friends home, right?
okay.
I'm just not that good to keep my money working every day, all day, like those interest rates that are working against me when I own a house, right? So when you own a property, that 5%, that is every day, all day, no matter what. You got to pay that
Right.
payment, right? I
Sure.
just wasn't that good to turn it around. Like some guys could take 100 grand and go flip it 5 or 6 times in a year and make 200,000, 2 or 300,000. I wasn't that good.
You weren't
So
that
I
guy.
took my
Okay.
houses, I paid them off, right? But what I did, Marseille, all I did was say if I paid this house off, right? I took one of my private lenders, I put another $100,000 note against that house.
Okay.
So whenever I need the money, he keeps his 100, right? It's in his IRA. It's just
Right.
sitting. So whenever I have a flip, I'm not paying any. I'm getting the rent in, right? I'm getting that $1,000 a month. Boom, 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 boom. His loan, his lien against my rental property. So whenever I need the money, I call him up. I know Kris. Kris, I need 80 grand. We just used some the other day. He'll wire the money to closing, and now
Mm-hmm.
that property we call this cross collateralization, right? So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is the security for him, but I'm using the money on another house that he don't even care about. He never even sees it.
Right. He's just using that for security against the debt itself.
Security.
Gotcha.
Cross
Okay.
collateral. There you go. So when you ask, am I using my property for leverage?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but I
Right.
like to keep my. I want my rent.
Yeah. Okay. And then are you finding that like tell us about the advantages of doing it that way, like in your mind, what are the benefits for you doing it that way as opposed to just putting a new note back on the original rental property?
Well, the problem is, man, I just don't. Yeah, I think you know that one of the most powerful things is that compounding interest. And
Mm-hmm.
man, when you got those interest payments coming up, your lifestyle. My thing is passive income, passive cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
So I need my rents to come in without
Right.
having a mortgage payment, but I still want access to the cash.
You still want to be able to use the money. Yeah, yeah, I'm
There
with
you
you.
go.
Okay.
So as long as you keep
Yeah.
your money, I'll call you when we need
Mhm.
it.
Right.
We flip the house 6 months, pay you back, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
over. Then we'll do it again.
You're using it as on an as needed basis. I got you. No, that's good stuff, man. That's so
And I get to
y'all hear
keep
this,
all the
right?
rent. I get to keep all the rent on the rental property, all the rent, because the
Yeah.
money that I'm using from him is over here on property B that we're flipping. He gets paid.
Right.
Say I owe him 5 grand interest. That's
Mm-hmm.
coming out of the flip. That's not even coming out of my rents.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about a day in your life, man. What does a day look like for Mr. Kris Haskins as a real estate investor, as an entrepreneur? What does that look like for you?
A day,
Typical
wow,
day.
5 o'clock every day, 5 a.m. In the morning from 5 to 7 is my little time that I like to call it output.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening. Eric Thomas told me, it was like, man, back in the day, publishing used to be, write a book, go get some big nameless company, publish a book. But
Okay.
Damon Dash told me that the internet is the new publishing. So now every day I try to focus on my content creation because Marseille, I don't know if you know this, but content is the new real estate.
Right.
Content. That's why we're here. We wouldn't even be talking if it wasn't for my content.
Right.
You wouldn't know who I was.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how we connected. I'm watching content, man. You were producing at such a volume. I was like, wow. And for me, I was like, man, it's out of my comfort zone. But that's why the Property Pastor channel got launched. You were my inspiration for it. So I
Nice.
appreciate it. Yeah,
I
yeah,
love the
for sure.
property pastor. I love it. Content every
Yeah,
morning. Content. Crank it out. Man, you got to be a Dude, the content creators will inherit the earth, my brother. I have hung out with some of the biggest. I know Patrick Bet David. You know, I've been in his.
Mhm.
The man, he's got 200 million views, 2 million subscribers. You know, so he showed me the blueprint. And for your viewers that don't want to be in front of the camera,
Mhm.
no excuse. You can. We got camera. Me, I like the camera, but I really
Right.
like to write. I'm really an author. I love to just the written word. I like to
Okay.
type. I love that. I
Mm.
love that more than the camera. But if you don't want to
Really?
write or you don't want to, huh? Yeah,
I
I
didn't
like
know
writing
that.
better. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
you got a few books, right?
Yep,
You've
we'll
written. You've
offer
written.
your people. There you go.
Okay.
We offer your people some of that too. I need to get the links for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Look,
Right?
if you got, we'll show them up on the screen, let folks see, man. You know, so that they can
Yeah.
know. But yeah, Chris is an author, man. This guy is doing it all. So what else? So we where are we at so far in the morning? We mid morning. We in
Oh,
meditation time 5 to 7.
five.
What's the rest of the day look like? Because you're doing deals right now, right? You're not just creating content. You're still
Mm-hmm.
active, very much active in the space, right?
Mm-hmm. Just bought one last week. Yep, 200,000. This is my biggest house. We bought a $200,000. We bought a $300,000 house for 200. But
Oh
anyway,
wow!
so
Now how did you
7 in the
find
morning.
that one? What
My
would
business
you
partner brought that in.
say that
My
again?
business partner. My business partner brought that one in.
Okay, cool.
Big old house.
All right, so we mid morning. What else does the day look like? You checking on projects and things like that?
I try not. I'm really trying to. Okay, so 7 o'clock, 7:15. I'm shaving at the gym. I'm at the gym between 8, depending on my new. You know, I got a new boy now, so depending on whether he lets
Mhm.
me go.
Yeah, congrats.
So between 8 and 9, I like to do the gym every day without exception. Kevin Hart. By the way, Kevin Hart has a phenomenal book out, man. I would recommend your listeners to go see that. That's phenomenal audio. It's an audio book.
Okay.
Talks about I got to get myself right first. So I got to do
Mhm.
me for the first hour, and then after that, I'm home. Nowadays, I'm like doing daddy daycare teaching for a couple hours, teaching entrepreneurship to my daughters. But I'm getting
Yeah.
out of that. I'm getting out of that. Go to projects every day. I used to do that a lot, but now I'm just focusing on raising money. So I just talk to people to get more capital in, so I can place it with the different houses.
Got you. Okay. Okay. So you're now if you're not out there in the field, checking on projects, are you relying on a team? You got a team set up? Tell us a little bit
Yep.
about that. What's your team look like?
So we make less money, right? I make less money,
Mm-hmm.
but I got a lot more time to
Mm,
focus on my internet business, talking to you. You know, I teach people how to grow their YouTube channels. Matter of fact, my YouTube mastermind meets today in about an hour. So
okay.
I get to focus on raising my people's financial literacy while my team runs the renovation. You know, I don't make as much money, but still I get to crank
Mm-hmm.
out more. I get to crank out more. We
Content.
uh, not only content. I'm talking about on the real estate side. I get to run
Okay.
the real estate. It runs without me being there, which is so much better. But I would not recommend
So
that for somebody new, though.
yeah, you got to kind of work your way up to that. So was that one of your original definitions of success then? I mean, one of those things where you're like, hey, I want to own my time more so instead of being a guy out here grinding out, managing contractors, managing projects. Was that one of the things that you originally defined in your vision?
A little bit. I remember when Lonnie Scruggs was like, "Chris, I'm going to tell you something, brother. Your money can work way harder than you can. Remember that, young man. Your money can
Mm,
work in Cali, it can work in Florida, it can work in Texas, but you can only be at one place at one time." I didn't understand it
gotcha.
at the beginning, but as I got
Right.
older, I'm like, damn, the real man. You know, a lot of guys think the HGTV, they are successful. They're on site, running the site, going
Mm,
to get supplies, materials, negotiating all that stuff. That's a
right.
worker. They're
Mm,
working. The real man financing the deal. He's in Jamaica. They just putting up the money. He gone.
right. We working for him and don't even realize.
Yeah, he gone. They gone.
Got you. Okay.
So now,
So
yeah, that's where I'm at now.
all right. So what else is what else is a typical going on in a typical day for you? Because
Interviews,
you
yeah.
daycare stuff, right? So for those y'all who don't know, Chris mentioned that he's got a new boy. You know what you got? You got two girls, one son. Is
Yeah,
that right?
three
Yeah.
kids.
So me and him are very, very similar. I got two older daughters, one little boy. So it's like we just kindred, man. We just connected that way. But so you know, family seems like it's really important to you, right? And you said you're teaching your daughters about entrepreneurship. That's something in our space that doesn't always happen. Tell us a little bit about that. You know, what's that journey been like for you? 'Cause I know your oldest daughter, she just started up a business, right? So you kind of working her through
Man,
some of that stuff. Tell us a little bit
yeah.
about that. Things that we should be teaching our kids.
It's ironic, man. You know, as I'm thinking, I have this thing now when I go to bed at night, I think about my ancestors. I think that they are there in the room with me. Matter of fact, I
Mhm.
know they are. And when I wake up in the
Okay.
morning, I know they're there. I can feel them. I know, and I know that they're asking me, Chris, what are you gonna do today? What are you
Mm,
gonna do? When I'm going to bed at night, I know they're like, Chris, are you watching TV? Are you reading before you go to bed? What are you doing before you go to bed? You know, I'm just imagining all the entrepreneurs and all the people that die for me to be here to own all these houses, to be able to do
mhm.
whatever the hell I want to do at any time, go anywhere. So
Right.
I'm thinking about that, and it pulls me to say, Chris, I know you help millions of people around the country, but what are you doing for your daughters? What are you doing for the people under your roof? You know, it kind of gnaws at me a little bit.
Mm,
So that's what makes me push my daughters to be. They understand the cash flow quadrant. So my
hmm.
daughter did that thing and she made all that money. I mean, she just started. I signed her up. We're actually developing a kidpreneur class now because Marseille, I had no idea it was this much need. I could show you all the emails and direct messages that I got. People that want to teach their kids about entrepreneurship. Right? I had no idea it was this big. So
Yeah.
now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm listening. This is gold right here, man. Keep going.
So I'm like teaching my daughters. They've been to all the new construction houses, all my flips and all that. They don't. It's not registering yet,
Mhm.
but
Right.
now that they're making money in their sleep, I'm like, I wake up in the morning. I'm
Hmm.
like, Taylor, you made $20 last night. She's getting it a little bit, but my little girl is like, when she saw my oldest start to sell bracelets, she came in the room.
Hmm.
She said, Daddy, what am I going to sell? I'm like, oh man, that hit me right there. I'm like, okay, now you
Yeah.
8. Can you do this at 8? So she's made 50. Dude, I have not even marketed her. She came to me literally 2 days ago. She goes, Dad, I made these bracelets. Can we go to the pool and see if anybody
Mhm.
wants to buy them? We went to the pool, dude. Sold 2 bracelets for $8 each. So I'm saying that to say, let's change the narrative of the educational system, Marseille. Why does it
Right.
have to be that we send our kids somewhere for 8 hours a day and then they come home another person? I'm like, "Wow, they come home another person. Learning
Hmm.
what? Christopher
Right.
Columbus, and I'm not mad at Chris.
Hmm.
I'm like, let's get them I want my kids, we make money off of what we own, not off of what we do. You know, we make
Right.
money off of this. Why do you get all that money? Because I'm the owner. I'm
Mm.
the owner.
Got you. Got you. So you are setting up your daughters, and then once your son gets mobile and active, they will be following in the entrepreneur path, huh?
I keep telling them all I can do is push them. I can't. I'm like,
Hmm.
listen, I'm gonna show you this stuff. You can go be an employee, make your 80, whatever you want to make a year, Marseille. I don't. I let them know that you don't have to do this. You can go work for
Sure.
somebody. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
important. You got to find that passion. They got to find the thing that drives them.
Mhm.
We all got things that drive us, but we can't make them be us. They got to figure it out on their own.
Ron LeGrand told me, Chris, you can't pass down adversity. You can't pass
mm,
it down. I got all this money I'm passing down to my kids, but you can't pass down adversity.
yeah, and that's interesting. As you look, you see, a lot of millionaires in this country are first generation, and then they start looking beyond that, and you kind of see that generation
It's
one
hard.
built wealth, but generation two didn't have that same adversity that generation one had to go through, so
It's
it gets
hard.
kind of squandered.
It's
Um,
hard.
so
Yeah.
yeah, that's. I mean, how do you think? And I know we're talking about real estate, but how do you think that we as this generation prepare the next one for that? Do we let them struggle? Do we make them start out with hardly nothing, and then we become their private sources? What do you think helps us to avoid that kind of scenario?
Discipline, man. Discipline. I know you're a pastor, dog. Discipline is the key word. Look at the disciples. I mean, the discipline, So it's like If you don't have no discipline, I remember Steve Harvey saying they got some places and some rules for people that are
Mm.
undisciplined. They got some street rules and they got some
Yeah.
federal rules for you if you're not disciplined to control your attitude and control yourself, right? So discipline, whether it's sports, music, like I
Mhm.
make my daughters do have to practice. Either it's going to be trumpet, piano, whatever. You're going to
Mhm.
learn an instrument and you're going to be able to say 30 minutes, so
Right.
discipline, man, discipline, doing what needs to be done, even though you don't want to do it.
Right. So we got a few comments coming in. One of them says need to know links. So we're gonna be dropping links to different things. We'll get so you mentioned about the
Put them in
kid
there now.
entrepreneur. You got them now? Well, let's drop them in. So you
I sent it to you already. Shoot, if they want to get the audio, Marseille, yeah, man, get you in.
Let's see. So we do have one. We might as well go ahead and talk about this one. So Kris has a pretty cool book on negotiating. It's an 11-part audio series. If you get into real estate, especially if you are dealing in the off-market space, negotiation is key. So the way you present, the way you talk through. Some people are just like, I'm just about the numbers, but building rapport, dealing with objections, how do you frame questions and all those kind of things. So I'm gonna drop this link here real quick for his negotiation course. It's 11-part audio series. And if you type in the what's the code that we put in, Kris? Was it Property Pastor?
Property Pastor, yep. If you want to put that, you should have a link there where you can put it as a banner. Use a coupon code Property Pastor. We'll give your viewers $50 off if they want to get that. You better know how to program people. Neuro-linguistic programming. You better learn how to program. If you can't get people to do what you ask them to do, you ain't gonna make it.
Let's see if we're doing that right. Let's see, show. There it is. All right. Hopefully I can see that. That is I'm gonna put it all in here together. I think I did it wrong. There it goes. All right. Appreciate that. Kris is the guru on this side. I'm still a newbie on this thing, but yeah. So if you want to get the negotiation course, there it is. So there's the link, and then we got the coupon code at the bottom for a discount down at the bottom side. So let's dig into a couple other things. Let's talk COVID for a minute. So right now we're in a unique time in our country. You got COVID going on. You got, folks are busy. What are things looking like from your view? How has COVID changed the real estate investing space, and where do you see it going in the next year or so?
Yeah, the pre-foreclosure people that I usually deal with are not as motivated.
Okay.
They're kind of sitting back because they have that forbearance. They're sitting back and waiting, kind of wait and see. Matter of fact, I lost a deal with a guy, man, on the way to closing. Guy was like, you know what? I'm just going to stay. I'm just going to stay. So, yes, deals are slowing down, but they're still out there. I mean, depends on how much money you want to spend and what market you're in. But we are in such a great position because ma and pa that want to sell their house, that live in their house, they are apprehensive to have people come in. You don't know what's going to happen. But investors like you and me, we fix the house up. House is vacant, Marseille. I ain't there.
Right.
So I was like, go ahead, go look at the house. Just send me a contract. It's almost like it's the perfect storm for people like us. I don't live in the house. You can go in there at any time. No one's going to have COVID in this house here. Nobody's even there. So it's giving investors leverage to be able to sell houses faster and then sell them faster, dude. So it had the impact. What it really impacted me was my Airbnb. That's where I got murdered at.
Yeah, because of just the different city legislation about what you could and could not do. Is that where it got you at?
No. People scared to travel.
Yeah. Okay. So that's been the biggest detriment because of COVID on your business personally.
Yeah.
Wow.
Matter of fact, September is dead. Like we did okay for June, July, and August.
Yeah.
But September is dead, man. I don't know. We don't know what the future holds for the travel industry, right? We don't know.
Got you. So if what do you? Let's say, for example, I got an Airbnb property and I'm looking at September. That's my only property. What advice would you give me? Would I just convert that into a traditional rental? What would you give a person advice for that one?
Yeah, man. Well, I'm actually literally working on. I'm at the finishing stages of my landlord's the landlord's guide to Section 8 housing. I still feel that I know a lot of people talk bad about it, but my Section 8 tenants, I love them. They're great
Yeah,
people.
they're
No
getting the.
problem.
So yeah, how do you dispel that, right? Because I mean, I know even for me, as I started out, everybody's like, stay away from Section 8, don't touch it, don't touch it. But then I find more and more people, especially now, with the economy being where it is, Section 8 doesn't seem like it's a bad place to be. So, what advice would you give a person that's interested in or is considering Section 8? How do they safeguard themselves against, holes in the wall and people trashing their property? Is
That's
that
big.
any different than a normal tenant? I mean, how do you dispel those notions?
That's right. That's big, man. Well, I've got literally, I'm glad you asked that. I'm literally creating a product course, man. I don't know how many hours it is, but it's 4 sections. The first section is locating your ideal tenant, because not
Hmm.
all tenants on Section 8 were created equal. You got some good and bad. I've had them both.
Yep, right.
I had to evict a lady one time. How you gonna get evicted on? How you gonna get evicted on Section 8?
You're getting supplemented already.
She paid.
People
I'm gonna tell my wife, babe, I gotta evict this lady, and she pays nothing. You pay
wow.
nothing, and I still gotta let you go. So anyway, number two, I'm screening your tenant. You got to screen these people. I got a whole different boom boom checklist on how we screen people. That's the
Hmm.
longest section. Section 3, pre-inspection. What do we do before the inspection? And 4, post-inspection. After you pass that inspection, what do you do
Hmm.
next? So yeah, you got to know that stuff, man. Yeah.
So you're doing above and beyond, the regular Section 8 requirements. Then, so you as a property manager and whatnot, you're going in and checking on your property as well. You can't just
Oh yeah.
expect, the government to take care of it for you. Now, do you self manage or do you actually have a property manager that takes care of your stuff?
I mean, I do manage my stuff, but I mean, I probably spend 5 hours a year on my houses, brother,
Gotcha,
because they all
gotcha.
do direct deposit.
Hmm.
They all, well, yeah, some people want to meet with me and give me the cash. I'll do that. I don't mind doing that. Or yeah,
Hmm.
direct deposit, or meet me and give me. Yeah, that's it. Well, they mail it
Okay,
in. I mean, yeah, they have my bank. They
right.
all have my bank account. They can go deposit it if they want to.
Yeah, I love mailbox money, but you on a whole different level. You on content money, free money. So that's you leveled up on a whole nother level.
Well, yeah, we created some value for our viewers, but yeah, free. I don't know. Well, we jokingly about that, but anything, brother. If you're here's the thing, Marseille. I respect you. If you're a real estate guy, then you
Hmm.
understand doing something once, getting paid
Hmm.
over and over.
It's just it's passive on a different plane. So yeah. So
It's real
what
estate.
was your how long have you been active? YouTube and Facebook and all different mechanisms. What was that journey like for you? So you started out primarily in the investing space, but then you started educating and creating content. How long you been creating content, and what was that development for you?
Yeah, at first it's a great question, by the way. At first, I just did content to invite people out. I was like, look, y'all come see what we're doing. It can be done. I did that from 2009 to 2017.
Hmm.
And I actually don't like social media, by the way. I want your people to know that. I don't really care for it either way. It's a necessary evil. July
Right.
2017, I'm like, you know what, man? This is what I will do. And from that day, you can look at my numbers, dude. It just went up like a rocket. I started to
Mm.
take it seriously, take content creation. Because if you think about it, my friend, content has always been a high ticket thing. Think about what was the last movie you watched?
Oh man, probably something with my kids. We watched some
Whatever.
Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah. I think
realize
I watched Troop Zero. That's what it was
Troop,
last
Troop
weekend.
Zero?
Yeah,
Okay. Do you realize that is nothing but content?
sure. Yeah, that's
You with
it.
me?
And it can be watched multiple times, right? Streamed multiple times, created once, and then over and
So
over it
they
can be
have
seen.
the wherewithal to spend $10 million on a little snippet of content for an hour why shouldn't I at least give this thing a thought? That's all, brother. Like if they've
Right.
created California has created one of the largest economies in the world, in the
Mm,
world, creating
right.
content.
Yep.
Why shouldn't I at least think about it?
Why should you
So that's where I
tap
was
into
at.
it? So what made that light bulb go off? As we've been talking, I hear about 2017 like being this shift for you. What was that? What kind of led to that and really triggered this transition, I guess, in 2017? What was that all about for you?
I'm gonna tell you, man. I met a man by the name of Patrick Bet David. I mean,
Okay.
I was introduced to his content on YouTube. I remember I used to go to the gym, come home. I used to cut my every day. I would watch Judge Mathis,
Hmm.
and I'm not a TV guy, but my wife, she watches these shows and it sucks me in, man. Sucks me. So I started watching Judge Mathis. So every day I go to the gym, come home, watch Judge Mathis. I'm like, all right, Chris, I don't know how far this is gonna go. But I clicked YouTube and this dude, Patrick Bet David, came on, man. And I'm like, that's the blueprint. When I saw
Okay.
this man, his delivery, I saw what he was doing. I'm like, we need to do this for real estate people. He was doing it for entrepreneurs, right?
Mm,
But there is
okay.
no, I'm like, you know what? There's nobody out here doing this for entrepreneurs. Let me give it a try. So
Right.
I started just telling people what I know. I'm like,
Right.
okay, I know how to do that. I can do that. Well, this is what you do when you do that. And then Marseille, she just blew up. My wife started seeing these deposits going to the bank. She's like,
Mm.
we got 7,000. Just where is that? From YouTube.
Where did that money come from?
She's, I'm like, it's
Yeah.
from YouTube.
Nah, that's awesome, man. That's just amazing to, we talk about generating additional streams of income. And I think that's much respect on that, just to be able to take that concept and create, just become a content creator, a value generator, and
Yeah.
and turn it into basically a new asset for yourself. So that's good stuff,
Income
man.
stream.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what tell us about, so I'm not gonna keep you too long, man. I just wanted to
Yeah, sure, my
introduce
man.
folks to and you guys, if y'all have questions, comments, whatever, make sure you drop them in the comment section. We'll get them answered while we got Kris on here. How do people connect to you? How do they what's a good way to get a hold of you if folks want to follow you and all that kind of good stuff? What you said you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, Instagram, I'm assuming all the major channels. Is it just Kris Haskins? Just search that name and we'll be able to get you.
Yeah, man. The fastest way to get me is commenting on a YouTube video. It comes right to my phone. They give us an app. Anybody can get it, but all the comments on there. So we just comment. I have to make sure I'm always on there,
Okay.
interacting with my roundup homies. Comment
Yeah.
or on Insta or Facebook. That's where best way to get me.
Got you. Now, last question for you before I let you go, man. What do you like to do when you're not doing real estate? What's fun? What's fun life for you right now? I know you got your hands full with this little male human who is trying to balance the force in your household. He's got an uphill battle though. I mean, I speak from experience. My son, he gets beat up by them older girls in his household.
How old is he?
7. Yeah, my kids
Oh,
are 7, 10, and 12. So he's not quite big enough to overpower anybody yet, but he wants to be in charge. But they quickly put him in his place.
I
But
bet. I
he's probably
bet.
11. The force will be balanced. But right now he's still
That's cool. That's
yeah.
cool.
So what are you doing when you're not creating content, when you're not flipping a house?
God,
What's fun for you?
that's crazy. I feel like that is life, right? And when you get so entrenched in doing stuff, it's like, man, that's all I do.
Mm,
I need to do. Well, I used to bake, right? I'm a baker by trade, but now during the COVID thing, all I have is we've got a pool down the street, Marseille, man. We'll go today after 4 o'clock. I'll just go hang out by the public pool, man. That's all I got. No,
yeah, you go hang out, let the kids do their thing, huh?
yeah, I go in too, but I don't have
Yeah.
much. Being that we can't, I would be man. We and my wife had so many plans for traveling this summer, Marseille. We had Disney. I mean, we had it
Yeah.
all set
I
up.
gotta be there with you. I had a Disney trip I had to cancel because of COVID ruined my Disney trip this year. I know the pain, brother. I'm right there with you.
So, but I gotta make sure I'm thankful though. We were gonna. I mean, we have Florida, Atlanta, Cali, New York. We love New York, so we had these boom, boom, boom set up. None of it,
man.
So we got all this money. It's like everybody. We're like, we're trying to figure out. That going back to in real estate, so much money in the system. I want your viewers to know that the money is out there. You just got to turn yourself into a magnet to attract it. So
right. Okay. Man, I could ask you questions all day long, man. Well,
cool,
look,
brother.
man, I just thank you, man, for your time. Coming out to hang out with us today, and you're a wealth of information. You've been a blessing to me, in my journey, and I truly appreciate your time. All your insight. You've helped me in my business, and you're truly an inspiration. So I appreciate you, man. Nothing but love to you, blessings to you and the family. And we appreciate you. What if you got any parting words you want to get to the people? I'll turn it over to you, and then we get ready to sign off.
Yeah, man. I want your viewers to know that you can do this business. I don't care whether it's real estate or internet. You can do it. You can do it. You have to put the time in. Put the time in and surround yourself with people like Marseille that are serious. Marseille called me up out of the blue. I don't even know. Hey, man, let's do coffee. I'm like, boom, let's do it. I'm trying to make sure that I give time to people. Make sure you meet new people. I ask myself, Kris, who you meeting new? Who you meeting new? I ask myself all the time. The people that sometimes I'm hanging around these dudes, I get nervous. If you don't get nervous when you're hanging around some people, you ain't getting stretched.
Yeah, you're in the wrong group.
You ain't getting stretched. You ain't getting stretched. 2, what are you doing new? Are you doing anything new? What are you doing? Are you learning? What are you learning anything new? And are you reading anything new? Those are the things I try to just always constant. People died giving us the right to read. Why the hell are we going to sit around with the TV on all day?
Right.
Why? People die for you to read, dude. So get out there, open up a book. Open up a book.
Good stuff.
That's it, my brother.
All right, man. Well, thank you again. That's Kris Haskins. You can follow him on all platforms. And again, thank y'all for tuning in today. Make sure you like and subscribe. Share this video with somebody who needs to see it because it's great content. And, hey, love you guys. God bless you. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been Marseille Winder, property pastor, my man Kris Haskins, signing off. God bless.
Peace.